about it. All right. So there's a lot of news coming out. A new report came out stating that the Jets are interested in in taking or giving up that 10th round pick. And I think that's going to be the most imperative thing. For this to work out, I think that the 49ers have to stand pat and make sure they get at least a first rounder out of it. So that means they have to go with either the Jets 10th pick, the Eagles have like the 18th pick. They might be somebody to play with. And then obviously the Ravens are another team that has a first rounder. So if a first rounder isn't involved, I don't think the 49ers should make the move. And here's the reason why. So let's just say it seems like the Jets are the most likely team that the 49ers are going to draft or trade with. Obviously, there's a relationship between Shanahan and Saleh, as well as a familiarity with Deebo to that offense. It is on the East Coast, which seems to be where Deebo is, looking to go. And so let's say they get the 10th and the 38th pick. Okay, so that's kind of what has been talked about. So you get a first rounder, a 10th round pick, the 10th pick, and a high second round draft pick. So now what do you do? So for me, things have changed now that a first rounder is involved, right? So I'm somebody who's pretty adamant that the 49ers are not the best at isolating and drafting offensive linemen. So with the 61st pick, I was very adamant that they shouldn't draft offensive line just because I just believe that they don't necessarily choose the right person, and they tend to reach instead of just let the board fall to them. However, when you're talking about a top 10 pick, now all of a sudden your options open up. So the person that I'm identifying in the first round is Tyler Linderbaum, the center out of Iowa, I believe. Now, I know a lot of people are like a center and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, a first round draft pick as a center isn't normal, right? Usually centers are drafted, second round and beyond. But Tyler Linderbaum is one of the highest rated centers in the past however many years, right? To get a first round grade as a center means you are potentially first year all pro type level talent. And why is that so important to the 49ers? So a lot of people look at the 49ers success and they pin it on different things that happen in the offense, right? 2019, it was the run game. 2021, it was Deebo. However, one of the things that people tend to overlook is what else was happening in those 2 years was consistent play at the center position. In 2019, the team had Weston Richburg, and he basically solidified that offensive line at the center position, and that ended up being one of the reasons why that running attack in 2019 could be ranked second in average, 140 yards or something like that they were averaging. In 2021, last year, at the beginning of the season, Alex Mack wasn't playing very well. He was getting pushed around. He didn't look like he was fully in shape. It didn't seem like he was, imposing himself the way that we all expected as an all-pro. The tail end of the season, in the middle of the season and onwards, Alex Mack started playing like the Alex Mack that we expected. And that's when the team also went on its run. And so the center position is, I would argue, just as important or even maybe a little bit more important than what we're getting out of the weapons on the team as well. Because once that captain of the offensive line, that center that can basically make the reads, play well, is going to affect the rest of the offense. It means now the quarterback has more time in the pocket. It means now the rushing attack is going to be more fierce. So for me, Tyler Linderbaum is the pick that the 49ers need to get. Now, the beautiful thing about that is he's probably going to get drafted within the 15 to 18, draft pick. That's what it seems like the board is going to fall. So what that means is if you have the 10th round pick, you don't have to necessarily pick at 10, which gives the 49ers a lot of options. So there's some people jumping in. Swan Song, Bro, I'm glad you're here, man. We've been going back and forth in Twitter. Make sure you staying active in the comment section, man. You've been throwing out some gems, so I'd love to hear from you on the things that I'm talking about. Deebo's not poshing, my man. Appreciate it, man. Love to hear some of your takes as well. So let's get into it. So what the first move should be? I think the first move should be packaging Jimmy Garoppolo and the 10th round pick and move up to that 6th round pick with Carolina. Now, why I think this is possible? It's very, very clear that Carolina is not set on Sam Darnold. It looks like that they're looking to bring in a quarterback. A lot of people are saying Baker Mayfield. Obviously, Jimmy G has been in that conversation as well. And why, but obviously Carolina doesn't have, a lot of assets outside of that first round pick. And they're not going to just trade a first round pick for Jimmy, especially if they're going to be taking on that contract. But if now they're only dropping four spots, they still get a first round pick and they get the quarterback that they're looking for. This could be a win-win for both teams. And why I think this is important for the 49ers is, once again, remember, we are not looking to pick at 6 or at 10. We are looking to move down and get more second round picks. And I would assume even maybe some potential future first round picks to recover some of that was lost when we traded up for Trey Lance. So let's say that Carolina takes that, where we give them Jimmy in the 10th, and now we move up to the 6th round pick. Now that gives us options to move down, because once again, I believe that the pick should be Tyler Linderbaum. So let's say we're going to have to pick him at 15. Let's just say that. So now we have the 6th pick. We move down 2, maybe even 3 times to get down to 15. And in that, we pick up a couple of second round picks and let's say even a future first round pick. Now, all of a sudden, we are cooking, because now in the draft, we're able to get our center for the future that we pair up with our quarterback of future. And now they have the next 10 years locked as quarterback center for the 49ers, right? With those second round picks, we can now fill, the safety position, whether it be a guy like Jalen Petrie. We could get our defensive edge rusher in a guy like Nick Bonito, who will probably be there. We could pick up our slot corners, with a couple of guys that are going to be there. Now we're talking about, we have our center for the future. We already have our quarterback of the future. We get an edge, we get a safety, we get a slot corner. Now we're looking like we're filling in positions of need with premium talent, which wasn't what the opportunity we had before, right? So to me, that's what I'm looking at in the draft. Not get a high pick and then use that to be able to get Jimmy off the books. Right now we have that $25 million to sign all of these rookies and maybe do some work in free agency, as well as fill positions of need with young premium talent that's going to help us extend this window and keep it moving forward in the future with the 49ers. So that's what I'm looking for in the draft. Now, it's not just the draft that's going to be what solves this problem for us. So we're going to move on and talk about some other things. But first, at 6, you can move down twice for sure if you get the Gents 10, because 10, the top wide receiver, will be available and people will want to trade up for that. And absolutely. And for me, I know a lot of people are saying, we should go wide receiver with the first pick with whatever we get and just get kind of like, with a Christian Watson, and then all of a sudden that's going to be the replacement. For me, I'm not necessarily going that route. I think that Brandon Ayuk is really going to step up. We're going to get into that right now. I'm looking to solve the wide receiver maybe a little bit different, because I don't think it's just the wide receiver room that needs to be it's just a 1-for-1 trade. I do think that there's other options on this team to help make the offense electric again. James Coombs, Carolina still won't take that deal unless we still pay part of Jimmy G's contract and possibly still Darnold. They have money issues too. Look, if it means bringing Darnold in, I'm not opposed to that either. You still get to save about $8 million on the cap. And I think Darnold would be willing to renegotiate that contract. And having Darnold as a long-term backup or even a backup for the next couple of years, that's not something I'm opposed to. I'm more looking for, one, to move up to that 6th-round pick, two, to get Jimmy off of the books, to make sure that there's no locker room issues as far as who the starting quarterback is. So whatever it takes to get that 6th pick, get Jimmy off the books, I'm with that, James. But you do make a good point. Obviously, we're talking all ideal situations. There may be some tweaks that need to be done. However, if it means taking Sam Darnold back, I'm cool with that, because I really think that Sam Darnold's cap hit is going to be much less. He's going to want to stay with a team like the 49ers, get his reputation back up under somebody like Kyle Shanahan, and do kind of what happened with Mitch Trubisky, right? Mitch Trubisky went from a guy who was lost all credibility with Chicago, went to Buffalo, and now he's, a starting quarterback back in the league with Pittsburgh. So I think the same thing could be for Darnold. I think that the 49ers could re-sign him for cheap and, either trade him if somebody's looking for that, or get his reputation back up and trade him in the future. Swan Song Bill wants traded down 3 times with this 1st-round pick. Yes, that's what I'm looking for.